Yeah, but it's not about cooking. It's about synchronizing together
How
in
do
the
we
kitchen.
flow?
We're like dancing.
Yeah.
It's like dancing.
Well, I like the entire setup. I like going to the store, getting the items, getting the ingredients, setting it all out, putting music on, getting a glass of wine going, and really being involved.
Yeah.
Together.
That's like a date night.
It is.
It's like, so we're going to chat about intimacy.
Intimacy. Yes.
What?
The inspiration of it? The inspiration for me?
Yes.
All right, so I was running this morning, and I was listening to a podcast, and one of the hosts of the podcast said, intimacy. And then she said, into me, see. And that hit me. That struck a chord with me, and it made me really think about it. And the rest of the run, I couldn't wait till you got up and just to talk to you about that. So I'm glad we're talking about this now.
Yeah, me too. So I think that a lot of people have different explanations for what they believe is intimacy. I think if you would have asked me 10 years ago, my definitions would have been different than now.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 20 years ago, it would have been different even then.
Yeah.
My definition of intimacy now is really not about sex at all.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
It shouldn't be, but it's about the deep conversations that we have, and it's about being vulnerable with you, about sadness and or failures or things that maybe my ego can get the best of me about sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you're that person I can talk to about those things, keep me level-headed. But I also think about like how you kiss me goodbye in the morning before you go to work, and when you come home, first thing you do is come straight to me and give me that 6-second long kiss, and like literally make eye contact with me the whole time, like you're just a walking rom-com. And the hugs that last a little longer than average. That stuff matters. Like I don't know, like I said 10 years ago, I probably would have said intimacy is wearing lingerie.
I know. It's so funny to think like that, like Victoria's Secret. And it's like, oh, we're going to be intimate and it's going to be special.
Candlelights.
Yeah.
And, champagne and setting it up like romance.
Yeah. Strawberries. And
And like the rose petals on the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
That's nice, but it has its place. I think about intimacy. I think about when we moved into the house and the way we went about setting up our bedroom. And it was one of the main things that we decided not to do was put a TV in the room, because that is our space for intimacy. And again, it's not about sex, but it's our space where you and I can connect. We can sit down and talk. We can sit in the chair or on the bed or whatever and just have good conversation. We can read together. We can just be in the space together, and I think that's really good. Yeah. And we put that out there a little bit. Talks about the
we put that out there, and we talked about how we said, what do you think is intimacy is?
Right.
And a couple of people sent us some DMs, and one of the things is cooking together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because a lot of people are in the kitchen. They're like different. Like people have personalities that come out when they're in the kitchen, right?
Together, yeah.
Well, just by myself. Like when I'm cooking by myself, I really don't like when people are in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like I want everybody out. I don't want people coming around and washing their hands in the sink. I don't want people coming around and putting dishes in there or asking me if they can help. Like I like to be by myself in there. But you're the only person who I have managed to be able to like really cook with on a regular basis, because we just found that flow together. And so it's funny because you're always acting like a chef, like you're in the actual kitchen. You're like behind with a knife, walking with knife, which is so funny to me. But it's like after I got over the fact that you're like a huge nerd, it matters, right? That you're walking with a knife and you're telling me I'm like freezing up, so I don't turn around.
I don't want you to turn around too fast, or if there's a hot pot and you're moving in one direction, I'm moving in another direction.
Yeah, but it's not about cooking. It's about synchronizing together
How
in
do
the
we
kitchen.
flow?
We're like dancing.
Yeah,
it's like dancing.
Well, I like the entire setup. I like going to the store, getting the items, getting the ingredients, setting it all out, putting music on, getting a glass of wine going, and really being involved.
Yeah.
Together.
That's like a date night.
It is.
Like people think that they have to go out and like go to a restaurant and do the reservation thing and order a bunch of food and spend a bunch of money. But literally, like if you take the time to plan a meal and cook, I mean, yeah, you need a babysitter.
Yeah.
If you have kids, you got to get them out of the house because you want to be able to just have that intimate time without the distractions.
Yeah,
you just need no distractions. But so cooking together is intimacy, a lot of intimacy, a lot of opportunities for us to have intimacy.
Right.
Of course, the cuddling stuff. The cuddling, we cuddle like at night before we go to sleep, and we'll be in bed and cuddle and be talking. Like I don't necessarily sometimes I'm facing you, sometimes I'm not because I'm just trying to get comfortable. You always know. As soon as I turn around on my right side, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done talking.
Night. No.
Yeah.
Good night, sir.
But it's great because the cuddling in bed and talking is, is it lasts about 10 minutes, depending on how sleepy we are, because you'll fall asleep or I'll fall asleep. But it's like purposeful.
It is.
Right? We know when we get in bed, it's not good night, go to sleep.
Right.
It's always going to be at least 10 minutes of talking. And I know that sometimes I wait till you're like half asleep and I start saying, hey, babe, did you ever wonder why? And you're like, huh?
I'm one eye in the situation. I'm like, but I like also how we have books on our nightstand. And I know I have the Zen poetry book. And I really enjoy reading poetry to you.
Yeah. You read out loud to me and puts me to sleep.
And I like that. I like also reading a book together or listening to an audio book together. We may not be together while we're listening to it, but in the evenings we get to come together and sit down and talk about what we read and how it impacted us.
Yeah. Did you get to that part yet? What chapter are you on? And then you wait and catch up with me. The other one was giving each other massages. Now, to me, that's hard because there's a lot of situations, and I would say in a lot of relationships where you're gonna have to let the woman get the massage first. And then you might get a massage. Or she ain't gonna get a massage if he gives a massage first. I don't know. I think that's
it turns into something else. So.
That's almost one of those that you almost have to say from the beginning, okay, we're not gonna have sex. We're just touching each other. Just touch me, don't touch me like that.
I say if there's purposeful times or meaningful moments when that's happening. I know we've had several kind of sad conversations, and I think a massage helps. It helps to release the emotion. I know you're not a crier, and
I fight it.
You do fight it, but
time.
It's hard to fight it when your shoulders are getting rubbed, your feet's getting rubbed. It's kind of hard to fight it.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember one time. Yeah, I think you did something like that, and it made me cry because it forced me to relax. And then when I was relaxed, it was like I had no control over the emotion releasing because it was a release. And for somebody that has any kind of issues like that with always having to stay strong and showing emotions is like showing weakness. regardless of you knowing that that's not the way you should be,
Right.
it's still overnight. You don't just feel like you want to cry all the time, regardless of how safe or how, you always give me a safe place to feel like I can be vulnerable, but I still don't like crying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I'm ever going to like crying.
No, it's
Or I
tough.
don't think anybody likes crying, but I don't think I'm ever going to feel comfortable or okay with crying. So I'm always going to try to fight it.
So that kind of leads me into another point of intimacy that that I enjoy, which is our Sunday morning serenades. So I like playing a song or two, typically two songs, for you, just expressing how I feel or how I'm thinking about you.
You like playing a song for me? Babe, every Sunday, we're laying in bed. He brings me my coffee and he says, "Are you ready for your song? Are you ready for your songs?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he plays me two songs.
Yeah.
And I say it's my playlist for like the Notebook when I can't remember him anymore, and he's playing all the songs for me and trying to get my memory going again.
Well, it's a good way for me to kind of encapsulate the entire week on just my thoughts on what we've gone through, what we talked about, and it gives us an opportunity, because sometimes those songs hit, and we're sitting there emotional, and
yeah,
I think that gives us a good safe space to be able to be vulnerable.
Well, it's also great because there's a lot of guys who don't know how to talk, like their feelings. And I'm gonna move this citronella incense down on the ground because I don't want to get bit on my feet.
Yeah, I'll set that
I have
down.
a fear of. I'm allergic to no-see-ums. If anybody's lived in the South, you know what a no-see-um is. They're in California too. Yeah, and they bite me like I'm so allergic. So anyway, see if that he's poking me. There's a lot of people who cannot put their emotions in words.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of men that probably, or women, who want to tell someone how they feel. And to play a song that tells all of that is a great way to have a moment where you just say, "I want you to listen to this song. And, this is how I feel about you. Or this is what I would love to say, but I just can't find the words to say it." And it takes 3.5 minutes max?
One song, yeah.
Depending on the artist.
I mean, there's some jazz that'll go about 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, you inspired that for me, because when we were dating, you introduced me to a whole long list of new artists that I'd never heard. And I felt like I was in such a bubble. And
you were in a bubble of what?
A bubble of, I don't know.
Brown sugar? No, yeah. I had a little bit more of I had a different upbringing than you. So the being mixed, I guess.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about a bubble of blackness. I'm talking about just like having been living overseas.
Oh, okay.
For so long.
Yeah, y'all get shit real late.
I mean, in certain, we didn't get it late, but I mean, depending on where we were, you had a select number of songs that you heard.
Well, you're also like a hip hop.
Yeah, and I was stuck on my old hip hop and just living in hip hop. But
East Coast.
Yes,
yeah,
of course. But you introduced me to a lot of.
Don't say his name right now.
Who?
The one that you didn't like before, and now you like. You liked him again, but then we can't talk about that because there's like a battle going on.
I ain't talking about them.
I know, but I was gonna say.
Oh, that's
I'm just saying.
It's fun sport. Me being an MC, it's fun sport. I enjoy listening to it. They do what they do. Anyway, just a lot of new age artists, and for you doing that, for me, I wanted to dig a little deeper into the crates and present to you some songs that you might have never heard.
Yeah, you played. I mean, this is very early in our relationship, But okay, I'm sorry. When I grew up in the 80s, I was a complete fan of Michael Jackson and Prince and all the people that were, hot back then. But you played me a Michael Jackson song that I had never heard before. And I was like tripping. I was like, wait, who sings this? Yeah. And I was like, is this Mike? And you were like, yeah, you never heard this? And that's actually the song that I fell in love with you that day, that moment when you played that song. And I'll never forget that situation. But you played that song and then you were singing it to me. Like
I was trying to,
mouthing it or whatever. And I was staring at you and I was listening so intently to that song because you were not lip syncing it, and you were staring at me and my eyes and I was just tripping. Like, oh my God, this guy's telling me he's singing this song to me. And I've never heard this song before. So I was already flabbergasted by the fact that I never heard that before. But then I was just like, wow, like you feel this? Like you know the words to the song, so you know that that's how you actually feel. Yeah. Otherwise you can't say, oh, I think I feel like this because I don't know the words. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Yeah. That's a great way, I believe, that people can start being a little bit more intimate with the communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we have time for one more.
Yeah.
Expressing gratitude and appreciation.
Yeah.
So today, what was it today? We were driving back and I said randomly, okay, so we were out today. And I mean, I tell you, I appreciate you all the time, but so we have a water hose on the side of the house and it started to leak. And I'm very type A, so are you. But some things you're okay with. Yeah. And there's things that you're okay with that I'm not okay with and I need to fix it or correct it right away. At least that's how I feel. And so this hose was leaking. Now, I don't ever use that hose except to wash the car. And I occasionally wash the car because I have this thing about you need to wash your own car at least every once in a while, just because you need to see where the nicks and dings and scratches are so that you know when something happened. Yeah. Kind of like keep it's like meticulously taking care of your car. You should know your car. Right. So when I went to wash the car, the hose was still leaking and I was so annoyed. But I was like in a moment of hormones where I just wasn't tolerating things like that very easily. And you were aware that I was irritated, but you couldn't fix the problem right then and there. So you left it because it just wasn't a priority. It's just something that you knew I was annoyed about. But then the next time we decided to wash the cars, you had come home with a new hose. And you said, we're going to wash the cars. Let's wash the cars. And you had a brand new hose. And I know that's something small, and it's just going to the store. I could have gone to the store and got a hose. But it was one of those things where it wasn't that important to me after the opportunity was gone, right? I was like, okay, whatever, forget it. I don't need to wash the car. And then when you got the hose, at the time, I think, I didn't say, oh, thank you so much for getting the hose. I was just like, it's work mode, right? We got to go wash the cars now. Oh, you got the hose, perfect. Let's go wash the cars. But today, that was like a week ago. Today, we were driving home from running errands, and randomly I said, really appreciate you going to the store and getting that water hose. And even though it was a week later, it didn't change the fact that how you must have felt. I'm assuming you felt good that I said thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it wasn't necessary because it was something that, we needed and we were doing. But for you to say that, it meant a lot.
Yeah, because I know that you got the hose, not because we needed the hose, because the water hose worked. Yeah. It just was leaking. But you got the hose because you wanted me to have the hose so that I wasn't going to feel anxious. Right. Yeah. Next time I had to wash the car.
I want to help clear your plate. Your plate's full. We have full plates. And I mean, we always
I find things to put on my plate.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I'm that type of individual. Yeah. But if I can remove something from your plate, because you do that for me. You remove things from my plate, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
You really do. And I know you know it because we're intimate and we have these conversations.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, we can hold eye contact. Like, we've been holding eye contact the whole time.
Dude, have you seen your eyes? I can stare in those things forever.
You are so corny.